We would like to welcome the moderator, Ms. Hang Do, CEO of Scommerce. Please come to the stage. And our panelist, Mr. Michael Piro, CEO of Indochina Capital. Please. Okay, and Mr. Mauro Gasparotti, Director of Savills Hotels Asia Pacific. Mr. Vu Lê, Country Head of RedDoorz Vietnam. And Mr. Hoang, Nguyen, CEO of VinHMS.
Hello everyone. I promise this panel will be short and with a lot of vacation time because we are talking about hospitality, which I'm sure is the most exciting topic today. Who wants to live in like co-living in one, co-working while you can just hang out on the beach or at any of these hotels? It's my pleasure today with our panelists, and as you can see, we are so ordered. Just so that you can put the name on the face and the picture. Because after COVID, a lot of us have changed. I hope the industry has changed as well, and hopefully that's for the better. But let's just start with some introduction, because not all of us are familiar with what we are doing and all the cool stuff that we are working on these days in the industry. So very quickly about me. I used to be in the online travel industry. I used to sell hotels in room nights, so I used to be very, very familiar with the landscape, but I haven't been in the industry for a few years. I go to hotels all the time, and I have my favorite hotel. So I hope at the end of the introduction, you can also tell us what's your favorite smart hotel in Vietnam.
Hi, my name is Hoang. I'm the CEO of VinHMS. We will open platform to manage all operational needs of a hotel, small hotel to chain. I can't tell you my favorite hotel because that would be causing conflict for my client, so I would just know.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Michael Piro. I'm the COO of Indochina Capital and the CEO of Wink Hotels. And my favorite smart hotel, if you can guess, is Wink Hotels, which I hope all of you will have a chance to visit. So thank you. I look forward to the panel discussion today.
Thank you. Mauro Gasparotti, I'm the head of a Savills hotel. I'm also the founder of We Have, which is a community of real estate and hospitality, and I do a lot of events. My favorite, there's no many smart hotel yet. Some people are building it, so I like maybe to take a few years and you ask me the same question, I'll try a few things and come back. I experienced a few other things in other countries, like the hotel, for example, in Singapore. To me, in New York, I stayed there 2 times. It's beautiful. It's a small room, very smart with technology, much easier to use than anything else. Even the bed itself is actually a half bed. You need to get it through with certain systems to get a full bed in the room. So hotel, I'd say that globally is the one that I prefer. Here in Vietnam, this one is the closest that it gets to mine. I actually stayed there 2 times. It doesn't even know that.
Hi, my name is Vu, and I'm the country CEO for Vietnam RedDoorz. So RedDoorz is a chain of 1 to 3 star hotel, and we have more than 3,000 hotels across Southeast Asia. We are effectively the largest hotel chain in Vietnam, currently operating 141 hotels. I was very inspired one hotel in Hanoi, which I stayed at the train station. I don't quite remember the name, but it's super smart and super clean, right? I'll let you guys know separately, but it's a really, really good hotel I stay.
But I hope, after this panel, you all come say hi to Michael and get a free stay at Wink Hotels, because all of us have experience with hotels. See, everyone loves you already. So quick questions. Raise your hand if you have traveled and stayed in hotel after COVID. almost everyone. So it looks to me like, everyone is back, super exciting, not yet, Chinese or Russian tourists yet. But from my point of view, especially in places like Phu Quoc, you run into people you know all the time. Is the industry really back to normal? What do you think?
So your question is if travel is back to normal?
Yes, is travel back to normal? Hospitality industry, is it all back to normal?
No, that's the first answer. So we all went through COVID, so it was probably the worst things happened to the hospitality industry as we know it. Completely collapsed on the industry in the last 2 years. So we started 2 years ago to lose the international travelers with the closing of border. Then we start to lose the domestic travelers with all the lockdown and restriction. So what happened pretty much is that people start to get scared to travel again. So there was a completely collapse in demand. As a result, we saw everything closing down. But it was the first time that the industry completely got broke down. Not just the hotel closing, hotel, restaurants, airline, travel agents, everything completely broke down. And now is the moment where we are rebuilding all this, which is not easy because everything needs to come in place. You can have a good hotel. If you don't find a fly, you cannot get to that hotel. So everything needs to rebuild. So that's the difficulty go now. So after COVID, people want to travel again, the fear is gone, and that's the good news. However, what happened, that beside the post-COVID, now we face other challenges in the industry. We face inflation, we face war, which both of them, they're pushing price much higher. We face Chinese lockdown, which has completely wiped out the Chinese market, which was pretty important part of a lot of travelers. But also we face some of the problems that come out just post-COVID, which is human resource. This is worldwide, not just in Vietnam. It's very difficult to find, train, and retain staff. So this is a problem that is affecting everybody. So after COVID, yes, the demand is back, the interest in traveling is back, but there's a lot of difficulty that we are facing. Now, there are also some change into the consumer behavior, not as much as we thought before, but somehow people start to travel in a different way. What I see is that before was all about quantity. You want to travel as much as you can. Now people choose for quality. So you choose better hotel, you choose better the place you want to go, you select it better because it costs more to travel, but also because you feel it, you deserve it after a long time. So quality, it's coming as a first choice. The second, which I'm thinking we also talk later on, will be the fact that people will work when they travel. That is becoming much more common to have a few days of travelers and few days of work in the same time. So the leisure travelers that we discussed, we'll probably talk about that a bit later. So a bit of a change into the consumer, but definitely the industry is back. Some of the area are already back to 2019. You look at, for example, Maldives, which is performing as well as before. So some areas fully tracked. To answer your question on Vietnam, we are probably half of the performance that we were in 2019. So Vietnam still has a long way to go back, but not everywhere the same. City hotel somehow will recover faster. Some resort will take much longer.
I think you got all the points.
Yes. Just add on it. Just.
I think we can go home now. It's done.
Were there a lot of hotels being owners change hands during COVID because it's so expensive to own a hotel?
We also run an advisory practice where we do a lot of M&A. I think what we saw was the Vietnamese hotel owner has proven to be quite a resilient owner. We didn't see a tremendous amount change hands. We were involved with one large, $100 million transaction in Da Nang area between two foreign investors. So that was probably one of the bigger transactions that occurred this year. A lot of projects are tied up in the banking system right now as the banks are trying to restructure and rework out the financing. And then I think right now we're seeing more hotels on the market, but sellers' expectations are up here and the market is somewhere over here. So there's this huge spread in the bid-ask on most properties.
My guess is that that spread, now that credit is tightening, is going to continue to come down, and we'll start to see pricing hit a realistic level. So COVID was good, kind of put people on one knee. They're in pain now, and the credit tightening up is going to be the knockout blow, and people are going to really start to feel the pain, I think, in the next 6 to 12 months, and we'll see more transactions.
Back to operations a little bit. I think Hoang and Vũ, you both you both work very closely with hotel owners, especially in sort of the mid segment for more mass audience, mass customers. How do you see the changes in the past 2 years with these hotel owners? How they operate, the different offerings that they give to their customers, their sort of mindset around COVID, how they survive COVID, and how they plan to continue building out their hotel businesses?
Yeah, so what we see for the last 2 years is there's a big shift in mindset of the property owners, yeah? Especially in a segment that we work with, which is 2 to 3 star. 2 to 3 star is probably the most competitive, as well as probably the most beautiful segment to be in, because every properties are very different. On the properties owner, I think there are 3 key attributes that didn't change, yeah? One, they were very resilient, and they're even a lot more resilient now, yeah? Because they have braced through the most difficult time that would never happen before. Secondly, they became a lot more demanding on quality services. So when we were serving our property owner, it's not enough that you gotta maximize the revenue. It's all about how do I ensure the customer come back to my hotel, but not the one next door, right? So we had to be very creative on marketing, design. We do a bit of renovation as well. So that's the second thing. The third thing is people are a lot more aspiring for different branding now. So Indonesia, for example, we have launched close to 140 multi-brand properties. We're looking to do the same thing in Vietnam, starting probably with Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh. That's a 3-star sort of property brand where it's very appealing to the youngster. Bit of renovation, but it is very unique in terms of experience, right? So it's not because there's a good location, there's a good room, there's a good mattress anymore. It's what can you do with a property when you're there, right? What can you eat around it? What can you enjoy around it? So I think that's a more of experience building that this property owner are looking for.
All right, so I guess I'm talking about 4 and 5 star. Any hotel operators sitting in the crowd? Because I don't want to piss them off. But to be honest, right, again, mindset changed. So 4 and 5 star, you have the owner and the operator, normally on 2 different sides, working together, love and hate each other. And so during COVID, the owner spent a lot of time looking at the operation to understand the value of the percentage that the operator have been taking. And surprisingly or not surprisingly, they found a lot of places that it can be improved or optimized, even from the operation, from the software, from the integration, from anything, okay? And then so they've been trying to do a lot of, so they will try to have a lot more control or even flexibility on operation. They're getting more knowledgeable about the operation. They're getting more knowledgeable about the subject. So they start pushing on a few things that they think can make, operation better. So, things from like, the people, the personnel, the software. Why should I go with this guy all my life? And the guy is like dinosaurs, right? Can I have anything else? Or should I just stay at the same hotel, right? So things like that. Actually, it's a small crack. But after COVID, you see a lot of change because there are a lot of like locally owned but under brand name hotels in Vietnam. And you start seeing a lot of Vietnamese owners starting pushing back. I have more control. I want more control. I mean, everything can be run on a wood class system, but I want that data flow into my ERP. All right? Before, they don't care about that. The answer normally like, no, you can't. But now they like, why not? All right, you have time and things like that. So I think that's a huge change, and we'll see a lot of change coming in the next few years.
No, and I would just add, I think the industry is one of the most outdated, traditional, prehistoric industries around. The hotel industry fundamentally hasn't evolved in hundreds of years, and like I think this is like a much welcome, as far as I'm concerned, a much welcome cleansing period for the industry to break everything down to dust and kind of rebuild again. It's forcing people to have an open mind. Traditional hoteliers didn't want anything to change. They were loving the game. It was a great game for them. No risk, lots of control, very high fee structure and long terms on management contracts. It's a great business. But I think now we're at a time where everything is shifting. The whole game is being reset. The dynamic between owner and operator is being reset. The economics of the business model are being reset. What the customer expects with the Gen Y and Gen Z is changing. So the whole industry is flipping upside down right now. And I see it in our teams because we were born in COVID, and I've never worked in a hotel. So my advantage is I don't have any of those old things to hold on to. All I know is our brand. And so I don't think about anything else, and I move straight. But when we have people, when I'm building the team, and I want to combine older experience with our kind of dynamic team, those people struggle to adapt to what we were, the new normal or the new way of running hotels. So I think the industry is changing a lot right now, and owners and operators alike need to be flexible, adaptable, and resilient right now and have an open mind because as we're going to see, as tourism opens up, and as Mauro touched on, the entire business is changing a lot, and particularly from the consumer side, which I'm sure we'll get into a bit more later.
Yeah, just to add on those 2 points. So one of the things that is driving this change is actually it's much more competitive now than what it was before. So a lot of hotels have been pushed to make certain change. And one of the changes that I saw, going back to the control point before, is that costs are changing. The hotel has to adapt to be run with less costs, so the margin is higher. Right now, I talk to some of the hotel owners, and they're breaking even at 25–30% occupancy, which was unthinkable before COVID, when you need much higher. So a lot of cost has been cut, and really work to the bone of what is hospitality. From that you can rebuild, you can build better, but a lot of hotels has adapted to less costs, be run more efficient.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point in that, I was talking to a group of people working in hotels in Thailand. I was there last week, and, they said, I no longer work for a department, I work for a hotel. So, everyone has had to learn how to do everything. It's no longer I live in my silo and, I wait for the next department and the next department, and the next department. Everyone has had to come together, and that way you can bring the staffing costs down by cross-training, and then you can hit those break-even GOPs at 20–35%. Otherwise, you have absolutely no chance of survival in this environment.
Yeah, a lot of multitasking, which lead to the problem of human resource that we talk later. So people will need to do much more within the hotel business itself.
So was that just a change in mindset, or do you see a specific, interesting technology application in any of the hotels that you work with?
I think some of it is driven by survival. People can do amazing things when you have no choice and you're forced to do it to survive. So people will tell you, no, it's impossible. We can't run this hotel with 50 people. We need 100. Well, when you fire 50 people and you leave 50 people with their jobs and you're like, do you want to keep your job? It's amazing what they can do. All of a sudden, you can run a hotel with 50 people. So I think survival forced people to get a lot more dynamic and open up their eyes to efficiency. And then it's just smart business. I think the overall model of the old hotel model is more touch points means more luxury. So, hello, sir, let me help you get out of the car. Hello, sir, let me get your bag for you. Hello, sir, here's your welcome drink. Hello, sir, let me get a towel on your forehead and cool you down. Let me get your bag and help you go to the room. The next generation of consumers, the Generation X and Generation Y consumers, they don't want that. They don't want 12 touch points. They want like one touch point, like, hi, welcome, here's your room key. They want to get up in the room, shower, and be out on the town with their friends. They have no patience at all. They live their life on an iPhone. Everything is one click away. They don't want to stand and wait for 15 minutes while you're checking them in. Please sign this form here, this registration form here, and all that stuff. That is finished. It's over. No one wants to do that anymore. So I think some of those things are how we can adapt, use technology to move things forward, move it faster, focus on the things that are meaningful to people, and let go of some of these old traditional ways of doing things that are no longer relevant.
And just to argue on that, it's true, absolutely. I mean, when I travel for business, I don't want to meet people. I just want to get to the room and get out of the room. And a lot of hotels allow you to do that. I hate people when I travel for business. But the trend is also an opposite side. When you travel for leisure and you choose an Airbnb, one of the things you want is to meet the hosts. One of the things you want is to actually meet the culture, the local culture. So that there are two things opposite in. Technology is helping you to get it through smooth, but a lot of travelers, they want to integrate the people into the travel. They want to spend time with the host. They want to spend time with the local people there and asking questions in the smart way, not as the hotel was proposing before, into a forced way. So those are the two trends that we see that coming.
Well, so on the point of Michael, I have a different idea, right? So I agree, they don't want a lot of touch point, but from the personalization, but from hotel operation standpoint, they still want to be able to touch you at every single point. Now, how can we do that without you getting frustrated? All right, so the idea would be, yes, exactly. So the idea would be, I still need to get your input right after the meal, right after the restaurant, so that if you give me a 2-star right after the meal, I can just go ahead and go and, hey, Michael, you know, everything okay? You know, how's the food done? I don't want to wait a week later to find that out on TripAdvisor. That will be too late. So from the operation standpoint, they need to have a way so that they can still measure the satisfaction on every single step, but not, again, right, having 12 guys and trying to do everything that he hates, right? So how do you do that? And that's a survival change. Another survival change is because COVID changed a lot of things, right? Before COVID, you come into the hotel, people ask you about your vaccination status. That's a fight, right? Did I get vaccinated? It's none of your business. But a lot of business has changed, and now, so how do you accommodate for that so that the guests feel more welcome, but you still have enough information for the government, right? And also things like flexible cancellation policy, right? Right now, everybody's one full refund, no question asked, right? Because like you must be able to refund anytime you want. That's easier said than done, right? What if you refund 6 hours before you arrive to the hotel? What happened to the hotel? Nobody likes that, but you want to give the guest that, right? So it's a technology change, it's an operational change you have to do so that you can compete on the out front, all right? But so that you can be competitive, you offer whatever the Gen Z needed, but still keeping your business alive.
Yeah, so let me give the room a different perspective on multitasking as a hotel, yeah? I think traditionally for our 2 to 3 star hotel properties, they are by itself very multitasking. There's no housekeeping department, there's no receptionist department, right? Your receptionist is usually the hotel owner or the hotel owner relatives. And the security guard is usually also your housekeeper. Well, after COVID, what we've seen from Q4 of last year was very interesting. Now the hotel owner are bringing their parents as well, their mom and their dad, and also the grandparents to do housekeeping, to do check-in, right? And it's so super exciting because when we go and talk to the property owner now, you got to sort of educate a very own generation of how to use system, right? Which is super exciting. And I think that's the beautiful part of us as management and operator is to be able to create value across all the segments, right? And across on a generation, which is something very, very exciting that RedDoorz is doing. Yeah.
A very brief question on work from these hotels, workstation. What changes have you seen in the hotels that accommodate this new remote work style after COVID?
Just speaking on what we're doing personally, one of the things, big kind of brand hallmarks at Wink is kind of out with a traditional business center, and we actually brought in a third-party co-working space operator right into the hotel. So, and when we did that, we saw many hotels around the world that put space in the hotel and called it co-working space. And most of the time, we noticed that these spaces were really empty. No one was really using them. But by adding in the professional third-party operations with the events, the staff, the support and everything, we've been able to activate those spaces, not just for our guests, but we love the fact that other local entrepreneurs have their office, permanent office in our hotel, and they're coming in, they're bringing other people in, they're consuming F&B services. Our guests are interacting with other local entrepreneurs, creating a bit of a hub of energy in the hotel. And I think that you'll continue to see more of that moving forward, where hotels are designed for both, work and stay, work and play, all these different kind of concepts where, spaces need to be flexible and used for both work and play, because we are seeing this new wave of what we call kind of digital nomads they work online, they trade crypto, they have online businesses, online sales, they move city to city, and they're always online. And so we've really thought about this market as well when we were putting our products together, because it's a growing market. And COVID actually made that faster, because a lot of people realize, like, hey, I don't need to clock in and out of an office from 9 to 5. I can actually work on the road, and we're seeing that really, these road warriors kind of growing.
Better Wi-Fi. I've seen a lot of five-star hotel upgrading their Wi-Fi, because you can't work with Wi-Fi sucks, right?
Exactly.
But seriously, Airbnb, for example, right? They actually build in a Wi-Fi detector, for the guests, so that because if you don't spend 7 days at a house, you need to know whether the speed of the Wi-Fi. So that is small technology change, but they definitely toward the work more at the hotel.
Do you want to add something?
No, I think they cover a lot of points. I mean, it's the market has changed a lot from consumer point of view. Now, in Asia, we'll feel it, but not as much as Europe, where actually a lot of companies have problem to bring back people to the office. So it's becoming absolutely normal, they're working in remote. I myself studying, I just back from Italy 3 days ago. I'm still on jet lag, but I'm actually studying how can I spend a month there, just fixing the right time, waking up early morning, just doing some work there and enjoying a bit more life over there and working here. So I think, like me, a lot of people are actually thinking about how to change their life, and travel obviously is a very important part of that. Hotel, how they can help that. At a certain point, they will start to propose few integration, but I think as a good coffee shop will do just fine to spend some time there. They don't need to stretch it all the way to completely reinvent their business, but absolutely a good co-working space or could be an integration. From what I also saw few years back was the co-working space start to offer room as a stay. So there was a few of those coming out as you work here, but I'll give you something for a nap, for a bit of rest, or if you have a guest and you want it. So there was one here. Hopefully Dreamplex will offer much more in the upcoming time of co-working space. Okay, you come here, but let me also add gym, add other stuff, including the accommodation itself.
Another small thing that we started to look at as well is for business travelers, one of the things that we know bothers them the most. I checked out of a hotel in Bangkok yesterday, and my flight was at 7:30 p.m. and I called down. I'm like, could I get a late checkout? And they're like, yes, Mr. Piro, it'll be $75. And I'm like, okay. But one of the things we did, because we know with business travel, people need to be flexible with their timing. We offered a program called Stay 24. Which means if you check in at Wink at 10 p.m., you could check out the next day at 10 p.m. So you're paying for a full 24-hour stay. If there was no COVID, we wouldn't have introduced this program, probably not. But now we're seeing around town, other hotels are now offering Stay 24. So that was just something born from COVID that, who knows, maybe over time that will become something that becomes a norm. But we really think about the corporate traveler because they're changing, they have different demands, and I think the industry is going to make a shift to start to support that segment a lot more deliberately than they have in the past.
Thank you. I think that is fascinating business case study, right? How COVID has changed industry from the core. For the past half an hour, right? You can hear that it changed from the mindset of the owner, the operators, to product features like Stay 24, to more focus on customer experience, what customers actually need. Before they make so much money, they don't really care. And now all of a sudden, customers are put at the center of the services again. And then, of course, most importantly in the service industry is operational efficiency. I think from the very beginning of this afternoon, we talked about how technology improves efficiency, et cetera, but I don't think we have seen such changes or such improvement in other verticals of PropTech as much as in the hospitality industry. And I wish, the organizers would have a write-up after this, because everything that the panelists have shared today is just eye-opening for both people in the industries and for operators outside of the industry to kind of just benchmark and cross-reference and kind of draw more references or lessons for themselves. I would like now to just open the floor for anyone with questions or share the experience about the latest travel experience and how you see that experience has changed before and after COVID. If anyone is interested. Anyone travel for business and stay at Nguyen yet? Oh, one. Next time I expect 90% people. Oh, yeah. Yes, a Wink Hotel customer. Can you tell us about your experience staying at the hotel? Yes. No pressure. No pressure.
Be careful or your roommates will get yourself on the street by the time you get back to your room.
I just feel like the experience is so different from the rest of us. It's actually fun talking or sharing. What about speakers? Sorry. No, we'll protect you.
Honestly, it's been amazing because we've been coming here for the past 3 months. I've stayed in maybe a dozen hotels so far. I've been trying each and every single one to find one which is great. So for this price point, it's amazing. Aside from the fast check-in process that Michael already mentioned, breakfast is amazing. You self-serve the for however much you want. And then I don't know, the AirPlay and the Chromecast on the TV. I can watch anything I want on the TV just like that instant. So it's fantastic, yeah.
What Ming's referring to is, again, another thing that we've noticed with Gen Y and Gen Z is who in this room watches television? Like Channel 11, Channel 12, BBC, CBC, no one does that anymore, right? How many people have a Netflix account? How many people watch YouTube? So no one watches TV anymore. Everyone streams content. And so that was one of the big things we wanted to do, is make sure that people can stream their content wherever they go. We have Chromecast and all the technology in the room. So wherever you go, where your technology goes, you can be streaming your favorite Netflix episodes at any of our Wink hotels. So I think that was another big breakthrough that we learned from our younger and not even younger, just today's travelers, people on the road. They want to stream their own content, and so that's something that I think you'll see. You're seeing it in more hotels now, these kind of smart TVs and options to stream your own content, but I think that's an absolutely critical element moving forward.
Another promotion launchpad for RedDoorz. I heard from the very beginning of the pandemic, Oyo was really struggling. And Oyo. Okay, that name doesn't exist anymore in Vietnam. No, sorry. But RedDoorz has been doing great. Not quite rebounding yet because the whole industry is still finding its way out of the pandemic. But can you share with the audience a little bit more, what RedDoorz has done that works during the pandemic and your trajectory going forward? This is a super fascinating case study too, and in case anyone is interested.
Yeah, so during the pandemic in 2021, our business actually has grown 30%. So we came out of the pandemic as a team regionally stronger than we ever were. I think there were two things that we did very differently. One is that we revisit our business model and be very disciplined and super cautious on how we work with quality partners. And I'm stretching on quality partners, yeah? So I think somebody was saying to really go on quality rather than quantity. And that has been our North Star from 2021 onward, is to look at quality strategic partners. At the same time, we're looking at also, on the other hand, what we did very differently is to look at also quality end users, right? So it's no longer I don't think it's no longer cheap to stay at RedDoorz anymore, but it will always be right pricing, right? So we are pricing very, very right now. And if some cases where our strategically located hotels are a bit more expensive, then we will try to return the end user with more values. Breakfast, early check-in, late check-out, which is never seen before in 2 to 3 star hotels, right? So I think that were the two things which we did very, very differently, and that's what made it come out of COVID a lot stronger.
Thank you. I'll skip Mauro because I don't know why you would want to work while in Italy. Because there's so much good food and everything good to enjoy. So why would you still want to work while you're back in Italy?
That's a personal question. That was not in a question that you sent us before, but I can answer. No, just personally wise, Asia is very intense, yeah, living here. So sometimes you just need to switch off. That's why we love resort. That's why we love that a long weekend. That's why Ho Chi Minh City need much more Ho Cham type of destination, just to somehow unplug whatever high intensity period you want to bring yourself and your friend or your business client to, and just unplug it. Italy is obviously, I'm Italian, so it's a good just way to just take the distance, see other stuff, eat good food, and back here, full speed.
Yes. And finally, Hoang, what do you have for VinHMS for the future? For the next 1 to 3 years?
I would just convert all the 4 and 5 star to our platform. I think that's just simple. But to be honest, like Michael said, right, there's a lot of opportunity for this industry because it's been like this. It's the status quo has been like this for too long. And, and technology and the demand of the new generation has changed. We use Grab food and Gojek to order food from kilometers away. But we haven't seen a hotel, besides Wing, that allow you to use the phone to order from your room. Otherwise, you always need to pick up the phone, right? So there's a lot of place for innovation to come in, and not just for the innovation itself, but to increase the guest experience, right? And using your own Netflix account, using your own Spotify account, right? And can I use, Grab to pay at the hotel? If I have a lot of Grab points, can I use Momo to pay at the hotel? And down the road, right, legally aside, can I use Bitcoin or any of the blockchain currency to pay my hotel? So these are the things that people are asking now, but it doesn't happen, not because technology prevents it, but because the operational core doesn't thought of it, because they all built 20 years ago. So there are something that we are very excited about, and there's something that we start building step by step with our partners, and you see that, soon enough.
So a closing fun fact. When I was in the travel industry, people tell me that, at least in Hanoi, only the student who couldn't get into better schools would end up in hospitality, because the career was looked down upon back then by most general public. That's why we have bad operators, that's why the service level is bad, etc., etc. But from everything that the panelists shared today, I strongly believe that, PropTech and travel are some of the best areas to start your businesses if you plan to start one in the next few years, because the industry has already reached that inflection point, and now the only way is to go up. It's just a matter of how many times up. Thank you very much, panelists, for sharing today, and thank you again, the organizers, for bringing us all together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
En tu boca, no tan poquito pa' que te vuelva loca. Esa mirada tuya no se equivoca. Anywhere and everywhere, you know I took the top. Hey, talk down all in your town, we live it up. Hey, still got an attitude and I don't give up. Till the DJ money pull up when we pull up. The way the things set up, y'all I get chicker. Then I move slow, so the dance just better. You know we never lag. Pull up to the front, where we coming true back. Tengo lo que tú buscas, calienta tanto que asusta. Sabes lo que te gusta, te gusta, te gusta. Viendo fuego en el suelo, dando que del cielo. Te diré lo que quiero. Si tú te quedas conmigo, bailando toda la noche, cerquita de mí, al ritmo de amor y derroche. Lo que me pidas yo lo haré, donde tú vayas llegaré, toda la noche bailaré, calypso. Si tú te quedas conmigo.
We had a two key points to say. First, all of the professionals should to understanding about the traditional market and the core factor is the broker before join the game. Second, customer on way looking for the holistic experience. Therefore, all product players should together and contribute to build up the ecosystem to deliver the full ecosystem for end user. That's why it's our vision.